What's going on, YouTube? Darklight Dreamer here. Oh man, guys, I'm tired. I just got off work maybe an hour or so ago. I work from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. normally. I got off work a little bit late today. I got off I probably got home around 8. It is now 9:22. So, yeah, I'm pretty beat. They have this new scheduling system in place. I'm usually off on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I've been with my company for like 12 or 13 years now, and I had been vetted in, so I had the weekends off. But they have this new system in place that automatically generates our schedules, and I've been off like Wednesday, Saturday, Monday. Like, when you work overnight, you really want to have 2 days off in a row because you tend to just like sleep the first day away. But with my days off split all over the place and not, having rest when my body's used to, it's really just been making me tired. And I apologize if that's reflected in some of my videos, but it's rough. And I try to make sure I get all this content out for you guys. I have a lot of stuff planned, so I'm really pushing for that. But between my job and this channel, it can get pretty tiring. But you guys aren't here to hear me bitch about work. You're here to hear some of the answers I have to some of the questions you guys asked me in response to the Q&A video I did last time, calling out for a Q&A for the very first time. This is my very first ever kind of Q&A type thing, and I'm really happy that a lot of you guys responded to that video and asked me a bunch of questions. I had plenty to think about over the week. Some of your questions were tough. I'd really been thinking about it over the week, but I think I got some answers, and we're just going to go ahead and start at the top. Tattoo for You, Richard asks, Tattoo for You is a wargaming channel. He's a great guy. Richard has been supporting my channel and my brother's channel, Frost and Fists, since basically we started. And he's just, I love his content. He's a funny guy to watch, and he just has a huge heart. He's a great guy. Anyway, he asks, awesome, welcome to Q and Deep Dark Secrets. I love that. So my friend, what game is really underrated in your eyes? Okay, so I know I'm going to get a lot of crap for this, but in my opinion, one of the most underrated games that I played is Final Fantasy XIII. Put on the Kevlar vests. Yeah, I think that Final Fantasy XIII got a lot of unnecessary hate. It's not the best Final Fantasy game in the world, I will full-on admit that, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as people make it out to be. A lot of people complain about the battle system, which in my opinion was just an advanced ATB system, which the ATB system has been around since like the origin of Final Fantasy. It's been since the dawn of Final Fantasy time, basically. And this one, basically, it's like you had multiple ATB gauges that you could fill up, and you could queue multiple actions. Some actions took more than one ATB gauge if they were really strong. So yeah, I didn't think that was too complicated. And then there was a stagger system, which if you really knew how to work with, it did take some learning how to stagger your opponents effectively, but once you got used to it, I didn't think that was very hard either. And a lot of it was using the paradigm system, like learning how to change your class on the fly, and using that to optimally stagger your opponent. But yeah, it took a learning curve, but I didn't think it was as complicated as people said. And I thought, in my opinion, it was like a smart system in its own way, especially when you got to the more difficult boss battles. Like, you really had to, like, figure out how to work with the stagger system. So yeah, there was that. There was the linearness of the game, which, yeah, it was pretty linear from throughout the main storyline, but, let's face it, Final Fantasy X wasn't that very open world either. You got to basically select what city you wanted to go through in the airship. It didn't have an open world map like Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy IX, some of the fan favorites. And Final Fantasy XII wasn't very open world either. And you were kind of guided along the rails of the story of Final Fantasy XIII, which I thought had its own charm. It was like you were going through this story as it unfolded, and at the very end of the game, when you dealt with the actual problem, the world opened up, and you got to like explore the world more and do all these hunts. So, yeah, there was that. There was the characters, which a lot of people didn't like. In my opinion, Lightning was the way she was supposed to be, because she was modeled after Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, and that's pretty much the way she acts. A lot of people thought she was dry and emotionless, but they love Cloud from Final Fantasy VII because, I guess because he's a dude, I don't know. But they said that they modeled her to be a female Cloud. She's quiet, she does feel a lot of emotions on the inside, but doesn't really show them on the outside. She comes across as very dry and all about, business. and she focuses on combat. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty accurate. I liked most of the characters, except Hope, because everybody hates Hope until, like, the very end of the game. He had a lot of character development throughout the game, and in the end he ended up being a likable character, but he was kind of whiny and nonsensical throughout the story, so nobody likes Hope. But, yeah, I definitely think that there was kind of like a hate train for Final Fantasy XIII. It was the game to kind of hate on, and, you know, being that that was the trend, a lot of people just jumped on that train and didn't really, like, give Final Fantasy XIII much of a chance. They picked it up maybe for a few minutes and were like, this is different, the combat system is confusing, and they just kind of wanted to go along with the conversation everybody else was having. Everybody else was hating on it, so, you know, they just wanted to jump on that conversation train. It's kind of like Aquaman. Aquaman gets a bad rap, and everybody talks crap about Aquaman. And a lot of people don't even know a lot about Aquaman, but they still talk trash about it because everybody likes to hate him, and he's a popular thing to hate. And I think that Final Fantasy XIII was the same way. So, yeah, in my opinion, that was definitely one of the most underrated games of all time. Tattoo for You also asked me what my dream day would be. Now, I really had to think about this one, because I'm assuming that means that I have no limitations on funds. It's literally anything that I can dream of. What would my dream day be? So, I think that my perfect day, I would wake up somewhere I've never been, somewhere beautiful. We probably went there the night before. And I would wake up and I would have no brain fog. I would wake up refreshed. My mind would be completely clear. And I'd have a delicious breakfast that's just peaceful and quiet, and I'd just appreciate the beauty around me and prepare for the day. After breakfast, I would take a shower, get ready, and I would meet up with all my friends, and basically everybody that I love, all my friends and family, and we'd get together and we'd go out and we'd have an adventure. We'd do something that I've always wanted to do, or otherwise just something amazing. And I wouldn't even want to plan what that thing is, because I think part of being a dream day or a perfect day is it being a surprise. And after, you know, we've had a blast, we'd stop and have a picnic lunch somewhere gorgeous, and we'd just eat and laugh together. At some point in this day, before, after, or during this point, I would meet the girl of my dreams, and we would fall in love, and she'd spend the rest of the day with me and my friends. And after our picnic lunch, we would go out into the town, wherever we are, explore the town, go on a shopping spree, stop at all the coolest shops, get whatever we wanted. I'd buy whatever my friends wanted for them. And after that, we would go to an amazing, grandiose dinner, eating while my favorite band is performing, Season of Ghosts, and we'd watch them play as we conversed and ate, and then we'd go back to my house, and we'd play games, laugh together, just enjoy each other's company, have a few drinks, and at the end of the night, everyone would retire for the night, and I would go to bed with the girl of my dreams. We would make love and fall asleep in each other's arms. I think my day couldn't get any better than that. I really thought about this hard, but I think that would be my perfect day. Emira from CoupleOfGeeks asks, what pic is on my t-shirt? And I actually made sure, because of this question, I wore the same t-shirt that I was wearing in my previous video. So, this picture is actually, it's an anime type picture on the Akon 27 t-shirt that they gave out. Well, they didn't give it out, we had to buy it. It was like 20 extra bucks, but I buy a t-shirt every year. Akon is a huge anime convention in Dallas, Texas. We go to it every year, me and a whole bunch of my friends, probably like 12 of us or so a year. We all like meet up there, we get like 2 hotel rooms, and we just have a blast all weekend. I make sure like 6 months ahead of time to request off of work. And it's the longest running anime convention in the United States. It's one of the biggest in the United States. It's amazing. We actually got to see Season of Ghosts perform this last Akon, and due to a lot of us like calling and requesting and sending emails and really asking Akon, like, please invite them to play for us. And they told us personally, like Season of Ghosts did, that they'd be more than happy to play if they would get an invite. And eventually we got enough support that they finally did invite them to play for us. And yeah, that was one of the best Akons I ever went to, was the one that we went to where I got this t-shirt. So great memories there. So the Soul Assassin asks, What film would you love to see made into a game? Love your channel. Keep it up, fella. Peace out. Baza! Baza, I'm so happy that you like my channel. Thank you very much, man. I really had to think about this one because a lot of times the opposite is asked, right? Like, what game would you like to see made into a movie? And I have a lot of those, but it really took me a lot of thinking to think about a movie that isn't a game already that I would love to see made into a game. But I think that my answer would be The Last Witch Hunter with Vin Diesel. It's got a lot of, like, melee combat. It's a modern-day setting. Sometimes it clips back to his past, but most of the movie is a modern day setting, but there's still a lot of like melee combat and magic and rune stones. It's just a really exciting movie. I think that would be perfect for a video game in my opinion. I also have a little bit more of an unorthodox answer for a horror game. I think that Event Horizon would make a really good video game because it's got the right atmosphere for a horror game in my opinion. It's got that like Silent Hill kind of feel, kind of crossed with like System Shock, or you're out in space and you're trapped in a ship that is alive, that has been to hell, and it itself is trying to kill you, much like in Silent Hill the town itself is trying to get you. So yeah, I think that would be a great setting for a horror video game, but definitely I think that The Last Witch Hunter would make it. That is definitely my answer in my opinion. Let's see. Cade Redfield says, BioShock Infinity made a movie might be good also. Yeah, I agree. BioShock Infinite would definitely be a really good movie. I think that I would rather see the original BioShock as a movie. I know that they wanted to make it a movie, and they just couldn't get the budget they wanted for it because they wanted to make sure they made it right. But I think a BioShock 1 movie made right would be amazing. I think BioShock Infinite would be a pretty good movie also, though. Let's see. Rydek from Couple of Geeks asks, if I were stuck on a desert island, what game console and game would I take? Ideally, I would love to take a PC. This is assuming that I'm going to have electricity and Wi-Fi on this island. But I would love to have my computer so I could play my Steam games. But if I had to just choose one game, and it had to be a console, not a PC, I would probably choose PS4, and I'd probably pick Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn, or now Heavensward, because it's constantly updating. I'd still be able to connect with my friends on the island and play with them, and we'd be able to raid together. And the game's always kept fresh because it updates every few months, and there's always plenty to do. So I think that would definitely be the console and game that I would play, and I could still play it with a mouse and keyboard even on PS4. So I have a video on that, by the way, if you want to know more about Final Fantasy XIV, Realm Reborn, and Heavensward on my channel. Check it out. Let's see. And I totally lost the list of questions, so give me just a second. What is the worst game I've ever played? Miharu Tenno asked me this question. She is the admin for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius Global Group on Facebook. She's an awesome admin. She's gorgeous. Go check her out. Miharu Senpai noticed me. But anyway, the worst game I ever played. I really got to think about this one because most of the time when you play a bad game, you don't really pay it much attention. You play through it a few minutes, you decide you don't like it, and you set it aside. It's not memorable. But I think the most memorable one that I played, because I was so hyped to play it, because I invested so much time trying to like this game and it was just terrible, was the original Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, before it became a Realm Reborn, before Naoki Yoshida took over. 1.0 was a terrible game. I wanted to like it so much, but I'm sorry, it was terrible. There were only 3 major cities in the game, there weren't any other cities outside of that, and you had to get all your quests from one of these major cities, and you could only get them, other than like the main storyline quests that you got at certain level intervals, you could only get quests from this like quest board, and it was randomly generated, and you could only get so many of those quests, and regardless of how far you had to venture out, you always had to return to this city to turn in those randomly generated quests, so you didn't really have any like connection or reason why you would be doing these tasks. It was just random, and you could only get so many every day, so it really like limited how much you could level. The storyline wasn't great. There wasn't a lot of interaction with the characters. It was very blah. There was really nothing to do, and the game was so bad. The game did so badly that they actually like kept on extending the free trial period of the game, and eventually sent out a public letter of apology because the game was so bad. Like, we're sorry, we know this game is bad, we apologize. And I think they fired their whole original crew when they brought in Naoki Yoshida, and he was like the Final Fantasy savior. He like was improving the original game, adding crap tons of content to it, while making a Realm Reborn, which is a completely separate game. They built a Realm Reborn from the ground up. And eventually they had this event at the end of 1.0 that was like the cataclysm, like the destruction or the near destruction of the world that led into the events of 2.0. So he like found a way to make a whole new game and bridge the original into it to save the game, but man, that game was bad. Like, Michael Pieri, my buddy Kalo, he asked me 2 questions. 1, what is one bucket list thing I would like to do if money was not an issue and I could do anything? Probably one thing I would love to do is to go and visit my mother's home country, where she came from, which is Thailand. I would love to see the place that she grew up and see Thailand's beauty, eat authentic Thai food, because I grew up on authentic Thai food from my mom and my grandmother. Another thing is I'd love to go visit Japan and, you know, have a picnic lunch during cherry blossom season amongst the cherry blossoms and explore there. That I've always wanted to go to Japan. I'm a big fan of anime, obviously. I'm a big fan of JRPGs and Japanese food and snacks, and I'm very Asian at heart. So yeah, going to Japan is definitely one bucket list thing. So yeah, those are the 2 that immediately come to mind. Number 2, who do you think would win in a fight between a 400-foot gecko centaur versus 100 giraffes with human-level intellect, and why? I think the answer to that would depend on how long these giraffes have had human-level intellect. Did they just immediately have human-level intellect right before they fought him? Because if so, I think the gecko centaur would definitely have the upper hand. I think he would just munch down on 100 giraffes, no problem. But if there's like a society of human-level giraffes and there were just 100 of them fighting and they've been evolving over time and had time to like use their human-level intellect to, you know, use their ingenuity to build things that could possibly fight it, I think that the 100 human-level intellect giraffes would win, given enough preparation and time. So, need more info. My blood brother, Wolf Brother Mythos from the channel Frost and Fist, asked me 3 questions. Looking forward to the Q&A. I've got 3 so far. Number 1, name a few genre of games I play and your favorite in each genre. RPG, obviously, is the first one that comes to mind. My very favorite RPG of all time, bar none, is on the PlayStation 1, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. It's an amazing story, lovable characters. It has a great soundtrack. It's a story that has touched my heart for years and years and years. Ever since I was young, I still love that story. It's probably inspired a lot of my own writing. It probably has influenced the kinds of games that I like today. I really love that game. If you haven't played it, given any opportunity, please do. I think you'll really like it. Horror, I'm definitely a fan of Silent Hill, all the original Silent Hill games. I wasn't too much of a fan of Homecoming, but I like all the Silent Hill games. I love Fatal Frame 2, so those are probably my favorites in the horror genre. I don't play a lot of shooters, but the shooters I did play that I like, I'm not a competitive PvPer, so I don't play a lot of like competitive shooter games, but I do love Borderlands and Borderlands 2. They're probably my favorite shooters. I also liked Warframe. That's a third-person shooter. So, yeah, those are probably my favorite shooter games. Favorite MMORPG, obviously, is Final Fantasy XIV and Realm Reborn and Heavensward. Yeah, I think those are the most relevant. Action-adventure, I'm not really sure on that one. But anyway, moving on. What is your dish on any anime or video game I would like to try the most? And which one would I like to try the least? Most, when I think of dishes in anime that I would want to eat, the first thing that comes to mind is in Spirited Away, when Chihiro's like parents turn into pigs, and they're eating all that food. All that food looks so good. I could really understand why they would want to stop and gorge themselves and turn into pigs. And also later on, when No Face has that like feast in front of him and he's giving everyone gold and he's just eating all this food, it all looks so good. So that's probably the number one anime food that I would like to try to eat. Though the thing I would definitely not want to eat from any anime or video game is in Persona 4 Mystery Food X. Whenever they just take a spoonful of it and just like it's smoking with purple nastiness and they take one bite and they just keel over. I would definitely not want to try any of Mystery Food X. Persona is also another great game series that is very close to my heart. I love the Persona games. Top 3 video game waifu. I have a lot of anime waifu. I don't have as many video game waifus, but do visual novels count? Because I have played a few visual novels for completely innocent reasons. But in visual novels count, my number 3 would probably be Ryo Fujibayashi from Clannad, or Ro, or however you want to pronounce it. But Ryo Fujibayashi from Clannad. Then number 2 would probably be... number 2 would definitely be Mia Ausa from Lunar Silver Star Story. My first video game crush when I was little was Mia Ausa, the successor to the Magic City of Vane. And my number 1 video game waifu would definitely be Fuka Yamagishi from Persona 3. I've always been a huge fan of Fuka. You see I have kind of a type. Don't judge me. Yeah, those would be my top 3 video game waifu. Love you, Fuka. IDICBeer says, I love Q&As. How did you come up with your channel name and slogan? Okay, guys, I apologize because I'm going to get real here for a minute. First, I'm going to start with my channel name because I don't have to get as real for that one. So, funnily enough, I came up with the name Darklight Dreamer when... Okay, so me and my brother were sitting down watching My Little Pony with my nieces. They love that show. I think it's a good show, too. Me and my brother watched so many episodes, and my sister-in-law with the girls, and I'm actually kind of a fan of the show. And we were sitting down watching My Little Pony with the girls, and my brother turns to me and he asks, if you had a character in this world, what would it be? It was just a random question, just to get my brain juices flowing. We ask each other those kinds of questions, those kind of creative questions all the time. But I really sat down and I thought about this. I probably thought about it for a good whole day. And I eventually came up with the name Darklight Dreamer. You know how a lot of the ponies' names are Twilight Sparkle and Sunset Shimmer. So I thought Darklight Dreamer kind of fit in with that kind of profile. But I wanted it to be kind of take on aspects from who I am as a person. And there's 2 parts to that, Darklight Dreamer. Darklight says a lot about, for my entire life, I've had to deal a lot with anxiety and depression, and I've had a lot of like self-esteem issues and self-image issues, and I've struggled with that my entire life. I still struggle with that, but at the same time, I try to be the one that makes everyone laugh. I try to be goofy and smile all the time. I like to make other people feel happy, and I try not to emit that gloom inside of me, that darkness inside of me. I try to be a positive person, not a negative person outwardly. So I think that contrast is why I chose the dark light part. The dreamer part goes along with the fact that I've always had a huge imagination, both me and my brother. That's been a thing our entire lives. We're writers by nature, so we're always coming up with stories and characters and entire worlds in our minds. We've written a lot of stories. Every kind of world setting that we like, every like anime and video game and movie that we watch, we always like to think about like if we could have characters in that world, given the restrictions of that world, what character will we have? What kind of original characters would we want to put in there? And so we're always thinking of stories for that and whatnot. And I'm a dreamer by nature. So I always have all these like fantastical worlds in my mind. So I think it's those two things that's why I chose the name Darklight Dreamer. But how did I come up with my slogan? May your dreams light your darkest hour. I am gonna have to get kind of real here, and I apologize. Before I started my YouTube channel, I was in a really bad place. My depression was really bad. I'd always suffered with anxiety and depression, but I was in like a worse place, one of the worst places I've ever been. I can't offhandedly think of a time when I was as bad as I was. I dealt with rejection and bad relationships, and a few relationships I tried to get into after the bad relationships. They didn't end well, and I was really feeling down on myself. I was feeling kind of worthless, and honestly, I was feeling almost suicidal. But I hit a point when I thought to myself, I'm either going to I hit a crossroads, and I was either going to let it just consume me completely. And I was taking like a lot of drinking and just anything I could do to get my mind off of things. Or I could try to become a better person and improve the person that I am, someone that I love and respect, to pursue my dreams, to do the things that I always wanted to do, to be a better person. So I decided that instead of letting the darkness consume me, I was going to try to become a better person. And at first it was college. I tried to pursue school, and that didn't really work out for me because I had trouble getting financial aid. But after that, I sat down and think, okay, what's plan B? What else have I always wanted to do? And that answer was YouTube. And I did a lot of research, and I started up my channel. I actually started up my first video. I didn't even intend to post it up. I posted up my first Let's Play I Am Setsuna video. I just made it, and wasn't planning on showing the world. But my brother's like, dude, this is good. You should post this up. People are gonna like it. And I believed him, so I did. And apparently I'm better at this than I thought I would. And really, it was in that moment, my brother really pushing me to post this video up, that really triggered me starting in YouTube. And I put all my love and energy into my videos. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I really put a lot of myself into these videos. And so in doing this, it's really helped me. It's made me a lot happier, having something to channel my love and energy into. I have a lot of love inside, and having something I can put my love into really boosts my mental health. And how should I say? Also, having something, when you create something, and you watch it and you feel like it's something of value, when you feel like you created something great, it really feels good. And even if nobody watches it, even if it's not going to get me a million subscribers, just making something that I'm proud of, it really makes me happy. Starting up YouTube changed my life. It drastically improved my mental health. It lit my darkest hour. And I hope that in pursuing your dreams, you have that same thing happen. I hope that whenever you're feeling down in the deepest pits of despair, that you remember that there are things you can still aspire to. There are stars you can still reach for. And I hope that in reaching for those dreams, it lights your darkest hour like it did mine. So yeah, that's where my slogan came from. May your dreams light your darkest hour. And also, of course, I wanted all of my the parts of my channel name in my slogan. So Darklight Dreamer, may your dreams light your darkest hour. And I wanted to be something that was kind of a nerdy reference too. So if I'm sure you guys realize it's kind of a spin on the Transformers quote. Light your darkest hour. Now light our darkest hour. So it had all those aspects, and it portrayed a message that was really important to me. And yeah, that's why at the end of every one of my videos I say, may your dreams light your darkest hour. So yeah, that's all the questions you guys asked me for this week. Thank you guys so much for asking them. I'm going to try to post up one of these videos every Friday, like a Q&A Friday kind of thing. So please look forward to that. If you guys have any other questions for me, or just things you want to recommend, or just want to, just comments that you guys have, do me a favor and just comment those questions down below, or those comments down below, and I'll get to it next week. I do have a lot of cool things coming up. I have an unboxing for World of Final Fantasy coming up soon. I have my Halloween special, which I'm going to play a horror game that's kind of a surprise and kind of not, because I really teased it hardcore on Facebook already. I have the giveaway winners that I'm going to announce on in the Halloween special, probably at the end of that video. And I have the last few episodes of my Let's Play I Am Setsuna series. Yeah, so I'm going to be busy. I have plenty of other games lined up, too, for after I Am Setsuna is over. Most of them are scary games, so you guys get to see me be a weenie. Yeah, so I hope you guys look forward to what's coming on my channel, and I hope that we'll continue this YouTube journey together again very, very soon. And until then, may your dreams light your darkest hour, and I'll see you next time.